Alright, ladies and gentlemen, got ourselves a little PSA reveal here. It's a crossover reveal. It's going to be 8 total cards for various manufacturers. Hopefully, I guessed correctly that they would cross over with the minimum grades I gave. Otherwise, we're going to be um, otherwise we're going to look at some old slabs, but that's okay. We'll see what happens. Is that Bubblehead your new luck mascot? Yes, it is. That's my little Cubby bobblehead I picked up at the Nationals. One of those things I didn't know I had to have until I saw it, and then I had to have it, and he came home with me. So we're gonna start off with this one. I know what this card is because for whatever reason, when I sent in this order, PSA sent me a note after they finally opened it after like 1,000 months. That this particular card had to be broken out and graded separately, so separate shipping and all this other stuff, which was kind of disappointing. I don't know why this one had to go separately, but for whatever reason. So what's inside of this should be a 1909 Colton Chips Diamond Jake Fister card. It was an SGC 8, and I'm doing the Colton Chips collection, so I wanted them all to be in PSA holders. So let's see what this one is. Finish cutting this open here. As long as I don't cut myself live on camera, that would be good. Alright. And the result is not good. The result is not good. One card inside. Did not meet minimum grade. So this was the card. It was an SGC 888, and the old flip. And I thought it was actually a very nice example. Very centered. Usually the back of these is super off center. So I requested a minimum crossover grade of an 8. But for some reason, PSA and their new regime did not think it was a PSA 8. So we're not off to a good start, sports fans. Not off to a good start. So the next one will have 7 cards in it. This will range from, I've got some 75 minis in here. I've got 87 Topps traded Tiffany. I've got a 89 Donruss Ken Griffey Jr. And I do have a 61 Mickey Mantle in here. So hopefully we have better results out of this package. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Mr. Jake over here. I'm not coming back as PSA because I need him for my Colton Chips collection. It looks like we've got maybe a mixed bag here. I'm not sure. Well, it's not looking promising to start off with. I may have just wasted a bunch of money. Yeah, it looks like I might have just wasted a bunch of money here, guys. This is a little disappointing. I think PSA is gonna make me not happy. So up first, we have what is a pretty nice SGC 8, the new flip mini. As you guys know, I've got a lot of minis graded PSA 8s, 9s, and 10s. And to me, looking through this case, it shouldn't have had any problem getting an 8. Oop, of course, now the focus decided to go all to shit. There it goes. But as PSA 8s go, This is... I've seen 9s that look like this. But PSA again decided that it did not meet the minimum grade of 8 is what I requested for this guy. And up next, same deal. This is a SGC Old Flip 96.9. Looking through the case, I know it's a little far off left to right, but there's plenty of 9s that I have in my collection that are left to right that far off. And the reason the Ryan was a little less does have a couple little print dots on it. But again, PSA decided this wasn't going to meet minimum grade. I almost wonder if PSA even bothered to look at these and they just pumped them through and said, yeah, we're just not going to cross over any of these. Same story for Mr. Willie Stargell. This is SGC 96.9. Really nice example. No print dots, really well centered. Much better example of the last card. But for some reason, again, did not meet the minimum grade. Yeah, this is not looking good. Not looking good. Mickey Mantle. 1961 Mantle. SGC 5.5. Now, I thought this could be a 5. I didn't think it would go to 6, so I put it as a minimum grade 5. You know what happens, Alex, you know? I mean, it's a really good example. And again, minimum grade is 5. This one doesn't surprise me. This is the one I thought wouldn't come back in a new slab. I picked this up for like next to nothing. It's the Tiffany Greg Maddux. There it is. For the GMA holder. I did not expect this to come back to 10. I actually expected it to come back at 8. It's actually pretty well centered. It's a little bit off both directions. If I remember right, there's a little print dot on it somewhere. But a Tiffany in the GMA case, for whatever reason, didn't meet minimum grade. Well, that's why I paid next to nothing for it, because it was a GMA case that is 10, and it definitely wasn't a 10. And then we've got a mini in a GAI holder. Back with these great. This is actually a hard card to find. This is actually really nice shape. I thought it might have a shot at a 9, but I did ask for a minimum grade of 8. Again, I have a lot of these 75 minis. I want to say I've got a pretty good eye at figuring out which ones with 8 and 9, because I've seen a metric ton of them in PSA cases. Back's pretty far off. That's why I thought it was maybe an 8. But again, boys and girls, focus. Focus. Alright. Come on, there it goes. Again, PSA didn't think it was even an 8. And our last card, same kind of thing. I wasn't expecting much out of this, but just as a funsy thing. This is a BCCG 10 mint or better. I asked for a 9 on this one. And I thought it was a 9. Excuse me. But apparently, PSA didn't think it was a 9. There's that one little dot there on the left. And minimum grade. I do tend to agree, Craig. So yeah, going through all these, you know, I honestly think PSA just didn't even bother to try to cross them over. They just put minimum grades on all of them because they didn't want to cross them over uh, into their slabs. So I might, because I'm a glutton for punishment, what I might do is crack all these out and send them into PSA for grading. Whenever PSA gets back to doing actual grades at a cheaper level, and see what they grade them at um, on a regular submission. Because I think I honestly think based on what they sent back, and especially on the minis. I mean, I've seen. I mean, I've got 430 PSA 8, 9s, and 10s of the 75 mini set, and I've looked and bought a lot of them over the years to try to work on completing my set. So with the minis, I want to say I've got a pretty good eye to know what they'd grade for. Sometimes I might be off, but out of the four that were in here, to be off on all of them, especially cards that were pre-graded, all by SGC. I mean, SGC is not like the GMA. I mean, if we're somehow off on this one, I could maybe understand. But the SGC one's not crossing over to equal grades, especially after looking at them so closely. Uh, is a little suspect to me that PSA just doesn't want to cross over cards at all. It's a little disappointing. Um, this Jake Fister. I don't have very many examples of them, but he's pretty much dead nut center front and back on both, and the edges are almost all perfect. Um, and I have several of them. So I want to say PSA is part of trying to catch up for anybody who sent in. Now I sent these in late February, so it's taken 6 months to come back to me. It may be part of what PSA is trying to do to catch up is for anybody who submitted crossover stuff, they just aren't even really looking. They're just pumping them out as don't make minimum grades if you put minimum grades, and moving on and taking your money, which I think is very unfortunate for a company that has already pissed off a whole bunch of people with how long it's taken them to get their cards back. And maybe this is what they're trying to do. But I think I will after PSA finally opens their doors, so it'll probably be a year or two by the time I be able to resubmit these. But I'll stick them in a stack somewhere, and I will submit them under the normal service levels when you can submit them for under $50 a piece after I crack them out of the cases and see what happens. Otherwise, that's what I got for you today. Kind of disappointing way to start my weekend, but very interesting experiment here to see what they do for various cards and various grading companies. And at least right now, it looks like PSA is not even bothering with them. They're just kicking them back with minimum grades. So that's gonna do it for that portion of the show.